Let's just jump right in and get started. So Dave, if you would share the flag, we're going to start with Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay. Invocation.
Hi.
Take us away.
Father, once again, we thank you for our ability just to be together, even though it's virtually. We thank you for the opportunity to gather. Thank you for your many blessings as we shared Thanksgiving in what manner we could. We ask now that you'd lead us and guide us, give our nation peace. We ask that you be in the midst today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Okay, so I apologize. Who is our speaker for today?
That would be me. Hi, everybody. Thank you for welcoming me.
All right, and then so for other guests, I see Jackie. Hello. Candy, nice to see you. And let's see, Cindy, and that must be, who is that with you? Dave?
It's just me. I'm having I'm on two devices actually because one is frozen.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And let's see who else on my screen. Darlene, hello. Good to see you. Cindy and Linda. I haven't seen you in a while. Linda. All right. And then Steve, always nice to see you. Who's that with you?
Leslie.
And Janelle, welcome. Thank you all for joining
us
today. Okay.
Isn't there yet?
He may not be. I don't know.
All right. Do we have any announcements today? Earl, go for it.
If you need a bag to fill with food, let me know. We've had some difficulty getting our own bags. They sent me 100 bags without our name on it. So they are in the process of correcting that. In the meantime, I've had a few extra green bags, and we'll be glad to send those out to anybody who need them. So please let me know. Collection will be on the 11th and 12th, and we would like to get as much food collected as we possibly could. So please let me know if we can be of help. Thank you.
Say, Earl, why can't you leave some bags down at the See's Candy Store?
Could do that.
Please do, because
Okay.
I'm going through there. I can pick them up there. I need probably 4.
Okay, I've got about 8 of them left. So I'll take them down to the store and I'll drop 2 off up to John.
I'll see it.
Anybody need one, go down there and get them.
Yeah, and I'm working with you tomorrow, so that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
They must be after us.
Okay. Any other announcements today?
Where's Hannah?
Dan. Dan, you're on mute. There you go.
Okay, I unmuted there. I just wanted to remind everybody, and I saw Michelle Duff send a message, or at least I saw it on my phone. We need signups for bell ringing on December 19th. Only a couple of people have signed up, and if we don't get more, we'll be knocking on your door with a special invitation. So please, please, please sign up.
Where do we sign up at, Dan?
Michelle Duff sent an email, and there's a link to a sign-up sheet.
Okay.
Guys, it's Michelle. Yes, I sent out a shareable document. I can also send it in Excel if you're not familiar with how to work a Google document. But like Dan said, we only have two places filled, maybe 3 now with young. Thanks, Dan. So we really need the signups, or I'm going to have to call, and I hate talking on the phone. So anyway, guys, help us out. Thank you.
Hey, Michelle, did my sign up go through?
Yes, it
Dan?
did.
Okay,
Yep,
good.
yes, it did. Thank you, Dan, so much.
Yeah, I'm so technically apt.
Guys,
I wasn't
yeah,
sure.
and I'm super I think we all understand that this is a strange year, and we don't want to put anybody at risk with the COVID problems and issues that could. So if you have concerns around that, please do give me a call, and we can work some things out. Rachel has sent us over some documentation on how best to keep people safe, and so we are prepared to do that. So, but don't let that deter you from signing up, because we really do need some help.
And Michelle, thank Olivia for what she's doing to get the Redmond High School Key Club with their project. It's greatly appreciated.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Is she on this call? No, she's not, but she's been trying to get on some of the Kiwanis calls, so. Okay. All right. Oh, there's Bella. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Any other announcements today?
Yes, See's Candy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. We're down here at See's Candy, me and Susan, and I did just tally up the sales in 5 days worth of sales, a total of $6,491.
Nice.
So
Good job.
And we
Excellent work.
We haven't had a lot of people coming into the store. Well, I think what we need is more volunteers in the future to sign up. And also we need people to sell the stuff that I maybe got too much of. Like we have tons of nuts and shoes. We have a lot of small sizes. So I'd be willing to loan it to some people to sell. Do we have anybody that would want to do that?
Hannah, I'll buy some more. I love the nuts and shoes.
Yes. You can just go to, come down to the store or go on Redmond Kiwanis and buy it and then pick it up at the store. So I'm glad you want to buy some.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hannah, how are we doing on online orders?
Online orders stopped completely. They have not had any about 4 days. Nope, we had them early on. So that's how that is. And I'm reminding everybody, come down here as if dressed as for a blizzard. Have on your mittens, your hat, and your heavy coat. It's miserable down here volunteering. And if people don't volunteer, I fill in, and I'm getting awfully cold and stiff. So I'm playing the pity.
See you at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I'll be down today at 2 o'clock.
Come on, sign up, and you can email me or sign up on the link. So that's my time here. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think we're good on
Rachel?
announcements. Yes.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to welcome Emily Anderson with the Shield. She is our speaker today. And so I just wanted to say hello. And yeah, they're a lovely organization. I'm excited for you guys to hear about them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Benny.
Okay, so now we're going to do our happy dollars. So if you remember the last time we met, we talked about how we are bringing happy dollars back. So for those of you who are visiting or might not be familiar with happy dollars, our group believes that there's enough negativity in the world. We would rather focus on the positive. So if you would like to share something that you're happy for, or several somethings, please share with the group, and for a donation of $1 a piece. And then just a reminder, John is going to be keeping track for us and sending you a happy invoice at the end of the month, indicating just how happy you've been. And then I apologize, I'm feeling out of the loop. I don't know if we figured out payment options yet, but we'll figure it out. All right, so who wants to start us off?
I'll
Roland,
start.
I saw your hand first.
I will donate $1 for each visitor from Cascadia Club. So how many do we have?
8.
Be honest now.
There's 30 of us.
Very good.
Now, how many are there, Jackie Sue?
There are 8 of us.
8. Very good. Okay, $8.
All right, Josh.
I have 2 happy dollars. One for Cindy Phillips, who's joined us today. I've been in communications with her. She was a member of the St. Helens Kiwanis Club and relocated to Redmond and is here checking us out. And I think has filled out an application, and I forwarded that on to Carl. So I'm excited for Cindy to be here with us. And then my second happy dollar is for a fantastic Beavers win.
Earl, go for it.
I got 3 happy dollars. First of all, I'm happy that we had Thanksgiving at our house and we were able to have FaceTime with our kids down in California, where we all sat around and did our own gingerbread houses. So that was kind of fun to do. Secondly, I'm happy to see the Beavers finally won a game against that other team. And thirdly, I'm happy that Michigan State is playing basketball.
Penny.
I've got 2 happy dollars. One is for Emily joining us today, and the other is for my health. After a year and a half of not being able to absorb iron, I finally can. So that's made a tremendous impact on my health in regards to my autoimmune condition. So I'm super excited about that.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Carl, did you have one?
Yes, I'm offering $5 happy dollars for what I hope is my final colonoscopy. One is supposed to age out of that. I was told 10 years ago that was my last, and here I am again. But anyway, it turned out well.
Something to be truly happy about, Carl.
Yes.
I've got 5 happy dollars. I'm joining with other Beavers in celebrating that phenomenal fourth quarter win over the Ducks. I also, Adley, my granddaughter, got to be home, the home away from home with her family for Thanksgiving, which included her immediate family and her grandparents, her other grandparents, and us virtually. And daughter Summer in New Zealand, she and Tim are owners of a new home in the Dunedin area. And as soon as we can, we're going to go visit.
Nice. Cindy, did I see your hand?
Yes. I think I have about 4 happy dollars. One is I'm very happy to have found the Redmond Kiwanis Club, and very happy to be here with you in the meeting. And I'm very happy to know that there's still nuts and chews available because I just adore them. I'm very happy to say I may have had a brush with the virus, and I'm not happy to say that, but I'm happy to say that it's day 5 and I'm still doing normal. So let's hope it didn't get me. And if it did not, I would be very happy to volunteer for the bell ringing for the Salvation Army. So what is that?
All right, Mike.
I've got 5 happy dollars. First off, for the big win in the Civil War, which was fantastic. And both the men's and women's basketball teams are off and winning their games. They were all undefeated so far, 2-1 or 2-0 and 1-0. And we got to go over and have a super Thanksgiving with our daughter and son-in-law in Philomath, and wish we could have gone to the games. We did get to sneak out and go crabbing on Friday before the game. We had a fabulous weekend.
Good. Anne.
So I'll offer $5 for Carl's good colonoscopy. And thank goodness we need to keep him around. And I'll also offer 5 more for our Rotary Club locally, who through some connections I've had for a long time are going to come down tomorrow and buy about $1,000 worth of candy. And they're doing that in recognition of the support we gave them in the fire relief fund money. So our Rotary Club are good people.
They are. They are. I have to say, you know, I really appreciate that it seems that we're finally starting to be able to partner together on a few different projects. I know we've talked about it for such a long time, and it's nice to see it finally kind of come to fruition. Last count, I think we were at $575 for raising funds for that. Like I said, I haven't been at work for a while, so I haven't been able to have access to that email to know if we've had any more donations. But yeah, $575 that we have donated that we will get a match for. And then we've got $425 left before we cap out on that match. So if anybody's still thinking about donating to the fire relief fund, we've got $425 to go. Any money you donate will be matched by the Redmond Rotary, Mid-Oregon Credit Union. I do have 5 happy dollars. I'm so grateful that even with the positive COVID test, we're healthy. Everything's good. The worst of it was just a slight fever for one evening. But I will say, for those of you, if you're not sure if you've got it or not, when we talked to Deschutes County, they said most people say they just thought it was a head cold. And so I'm curious that they're not listing those symptoms as COVID symptoms. So I would just say, if you've got any of the listed COVID symptoms, or if you feel that you have a head cold, might want to go get tested and just make sure. But all right, so do we have any other happy dollars today? I don't want to miss anybody. John, are you waving your hand?
I'll give $1 for Carl's colonoscopy. Glad to see everything came out all right in the end.
John Duff.
I get $2. First, I'd like to recount in the Civil War. and secondly, I see my friend Dick Keene on the line. I haven't seen Dick in a long time, so it's good to see you, Dick.
Yes, welcome, Dick. Good to see you.
Hi, it's good to see all of you as well.
Big hug. Big hug.
I've got some happy dollars.
All right, Naomi.
I have 2 happy dollars. One of them is how blessed I am to be participating. And by that, I mean, I was sharing with Hannah at the Seas Candy that I'd been part of a Kiwanis club in the past and didn't participate. And I missed the boat. I missed the boat on all the blessings and all the things just that I receive. And we all know that. And so getting off the bench and diving in was a big win. And then my second happy dollar is that in participating, I've successfully refrained from eating all the candy.
What's that? Well, you can eat all the candy. We just want you to buy it first.
Yeah, I know. Someone said that we should open a box for samples, and then I'm like, I can't stop. I'm like, this won't go well.
John Bruce, did I see your hand today?
Yes, you did. Yeah, I'll make this quick. I have $5 I'll throw in also. I think I have 5 fingers somewhere around there. First of all, I too had a colonoscopy and everything came out fine. All right. Number 2 is that I'm 81 years old and I'm really glad I'm not teaching right now. Be a real challenge. Next thing, my daughter and her husband came by on Friday, and we practiced social distancing outside and masking and had a nice visit. It was good to be with her. I want to give out a shout to Alan Unger and the Redmond Learning Center. He's keeping us afloat over there. We have 2 grants that just came in, so we're okay for 2 more days. That's kind of how we're playing the game. And another student called that I haven't talked to in 45 years. And every time I say that, it's like, you know, it's just great to talk with them. And then finally, I enjoyed my walk in the fog this morning in the canyon. It was really great.
Okay. All right. So let's move on from happy dollars. Okay. So we all know this is why you really show up for the meeting. It's the joke of the day. So what do you call a boomerang that won't come back?
A stick.
You got it.
What was it?
A stick. All right. Okay, Emily, you're up. The show's all yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Penny, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the warm welcome. My name's Emily. I'm really happy to be with you today. And, you know, I'll confess, I have this whole presentation prepared, and then in the last, 25 minutes since I've been sitting with you, I'm feeling called to kind of present this from a very different angle. So I'm going to go with my gut, whatever that is. So
good.
I'll start. Yeah. So I'll start by, I want to tell you a little bit about my husband, and you'll find out why this is very relevant. So my husband, when he was 12 years old, he had an older sister that got married at a very young age. So at 12 years old, he had a brother-in-law who was 18 years old. Now, my husband was raised with older sisters. He didn't have a lot of men around, a lot of mentors, and this 18-year-old brother-in-law was his hero. It was his idol, as you can imagine. Not many 12-year-old boys get to have such access and intimacy to an 18-year-old young man. And they were very close. And the brother-in-law took my husband, at 12 years old, took him fishing one day. And on their way home, his brother-in-law fell asleep at the wheel. And there was an accident. And my husband remembers being thrown from the car, lying in the middle of the road. And he remembers seeing his 18-year-old brother-in-law lying there, who died immediately. Now, I share this with you because that is a life-changing event. That is obviously an event that you might say leaves a mark. We don't exactly know how or when. What I can tell you is I've been with my husband for nearly 20 years. And for the last nearly 20 years, he has a habit of, once we get in the car, he immediately locks the car doors. And about 5 minutes later, I'll hear that automatic lock, that click. It's like he's locking the doors again. He forgot that they're already locked and we're safe. But I think one of the effects of trauma has to do with hypervigilance, if you will. And, he's a high functioning, wonderful man, and he still has some areas of hypervigilance that you might say that I see him carrying out in his life. And that might be, I would argue that that is an effect of trauma, maybe even PTSD. Fast forward, I guess that would be 40 years from that 12-year-old boy. That 12-year-old boy, that grown man, my husband, is a mental health care provider who specializes in stress and trauma, you might say. And he feels called to help other people that have had those life-changing experiences, you might say. Now, about, it might be 4 or 5 years ago in his private practice, he started getting a number of referrals from local Central Oregon medical professionals. Now, why is that? County employees had the same health insurance, so they go to a lot of the same providers. And these medical providers were seeing a lot of veterans and first responders coming in complaining of heart palpitations, anxiety attacks, sleep disorders, GI issues, if you will. And the medical profession was able to see that these symptoms were very, very real in the physical body, but these were stress and trauma related. And knowing that my husband provided this specialty, these medical professionals started referring veterans and first responders to my husband's private practice. The referrals grew very quickly. Knowing, and I'll get into this possibly, like I said, I have this formal presentation that I may or may not get into, knowing how difficult it is for this very wonderful and unique population to access mental health care, knowing that it's just, there are huge stigmas and barriers for them to come in and to see a counselor. My husband said, you know what, no out-of-pocket expense, just come in and let's talk. And the referrals from the medical profession kept coming, and he just kept seeing, hey, no out-of-pocket expense, just come in and let's talk. So he ended his private practice, ended up having a large amount of veterans and first responders. What happened was the county changed insurance providers, and my husband was not able to bill the insurance company to continue seeing these people. And he came home and he said, honey, I told these guys, mostly men, I'll say, I told these guys no out-of-pocket expense. They need mental health care, and I'm going to give it to them, even if I'm working for free. So we're going to have to figure something out. And fast forward, we created a nonprofit called The Shield. And what The Shield does, and I'm here today to talk to you about The Shield, is The Shield is a nonprofit that serves Central Oregon veterans and first responders by providing free and fairly immediate mental health care to this wonderful population. Now, I'd like to pause for a minute. There are a number of people with us today. Do we have any veterans here with us today? Thank you. I really thank you, and I acknowledge you for your service. I've heard from a number of veterans that they actually feel awkward when someone thanks them. So I hope I don't, for my lack of verbiage, doesn't feel awkward, but I acknowledge you, and I want to express my gratitude for your service. And, you know, there's a couple of things that we might argue as far as, well, veterans have access to all kinds of support, like the VA. You might argue this, whether you know this or not, is the Bend Police Department up until recently had a counselor on staff. So why can't they just utilize these resources? Well, I'll give you an idea why. But first, I want to take a step back in that the things that I've learned over the last few years with the Shield, I have to warn you, is I no longer see things the same way. So for example, my son and I, this was last summer, my son and I were driving back from Subtle Lake, a beautiful day at Subtle Lake, and we were just getting through Sisters, and there had been an accident, and there were a number of first responders there on scene. And whereas I used to think about the families of the loved ones that may have been injured, or the people that were experienced the accident, that is a one-time traumatic event. Now, when I go through and I witness these things, now I start to think of the firefighters, law enforcement, the veterans, many veterans who, after they served our country, ended up working locally as a veteran as a first responder. I start to think about them, and I start to think about what they are seeing on just a regular day on the job that they can never unsee. I don't know how many of you are very active on Facebook. One of my favorite features of Facebook is the Facebook memory. Have you guys seen this? Where I'll get a pop-up that says, 5 years ago today, you posted blah, blah, blah. There might be a photo or a post that I loved. And recently this Facebook memory came up of my son when he was about 3 years old. And this is a picture of my son when we were at Disneyland, and it was the Pixar parade. And I took this picture the moment Mr. Incredible came around the corner. Now, I don't need Facebook to remind me of this picture. I cannot unsee this picture. Have you ever seen something that you can't unsee? Like the joy of this little boy's face seeing his hero. This was back when my son had really light blonde hair instead of the deep voiced brown hair boy he is today. I can picture what he was wearing. I can picture the little sunglasses around his neck. I'm actually going to show you this picture if I can share my screen. Oh, I can. I'm going to show you this picture right now. So this is a picture that I cannot unsee. I don't need Facebook to remind me of this picture, right? When I see this picture, I can't unfeel the butterflies. Like I feel like my heart is going to explode just at the gift of being able to give my son this joyous event and memory. You know, and likewise, I'm sure hopefully we all have these wonderful, beautiful memories of things that we've seen that we can't unsee. But also sometimes there are things in our life that are not so positive that we can't unsee. So about 5 months ago, my sister was diagnosed with cancer. And I can never unhear the words, Katie has cancer. And I can never unsee the picture of my sister 2 weeks after she was diagnosed with cancer, where she shaved her head and said, come on, chemo, like I'm ready to kick cancer's butt. You know, I'm going to shave my own head, you know, and I'm happy to say today she's healthy in remission. But there are things that we all see in our life or hear that we can't unsee and we can't unhear. And when I think about this wonderful population of veterans and first responders, and I think about the things that they have seen that they can't unsee, or the things that they have heard and they can't unhear, I want to help them. So I'm going to go ahead. I want to give you guys some statistics. And the truth is, here, let me share my screen again. The truth is there's a lot of these statistics I'm about to share are fairly common knowledge. There might be a lot of things here you already know, but there might be some things here that are new information. So, you know, I don't want this to be a read along, but just real simply, as in terms of veterans, we've got about 20 veterans that die every day from suicide. Specifically in Central Oregon, the suicide rate of male veterans ages 18 to 34 is 3 times higher than non-male veterans. The Deschutes County Health Department, 103 veterans died by suicide in that window of time, which is twice the rate of non-veterans in Deschutes County. And those who died by suicide, 59% of them have mental health or substance use disorders. In terms of or first responders, in 2017, more first responders died by suicide than they did in the line of duty. That statistic was shocking to me. Law enforcement, this is as of this last August. If you want to know the statistics of the effects of COVID on law enforcement, 47% of screened officers have PTSD. I'll let you read this yourself. 29% moderate severe anxiety, 37% depression, feeling trapped or hopeless in their jobs, or feeling like every day they want to quit. And what about firefighters? This was an unbelievable year in terms of wildfires here on the West Coast. And this was a quote from a USA Today article regarding our fires. When you almost die in a wildfire away from your family and kids, that doesn't go away. I know people who wake up in the middle of the night and in their dreams, they're getting burned over by a fire because they almost did. Now, gosh, I really feel like you guys were so happy and pleasant, and given your gratitude dollars, I feel like I just dumped a big rain cloud on you, but I do want to share the solution that the Shield brings to Central Oregon. So bear with me, let's get into something that is a little bit more positive, and we'll talk about the Shield here. Now, what the Shield does is it eliminates barriers to accessing mental health care. Now, I mentioned earlier, well, what about the VA, or what about a counselor that's employed by the police department, et cetera. Well, we're going to talk about those. And what we've done is first, we collaborate with all kinds of local agencies to help raise awareness, to help have an impact, education, and access to the people that can utilize our services. And we have identified 5 barriers to accessing mental health care, and we are driven to eliminate these barriers. So real quick, one by one of the first barriers to accessing mental health care for veterans and first responders is awareness. And the thing about awareness is that, and some of you here on today's call could probably speak to this better than I can, but the thing about stress is it builds over time. Stress is actually cumulative. And it's very hard for people to see or recognize the stress that that is impacting them when it comes on bit by bit by bit. It is actually invisible to the very people that are most affected by it. And so one of the ways that we eliminate this barrier is we reach out to local veterans agencies, first responders. We provide education. A quote that a SHIELD client, and you can go on our website, read the testimonials. He talks about, was an Army Ranger. He did 8 tours in Afghanistan. He is local here in law enforcement. And he talks about stress doesn't care who you are or what you do. It can have an impact on you whether you like it or know it or not. So education is key. Another barrier to accessing mental health care is simply provider availability. Central Oregon has been federally designated as having a shortage of mental health care providers. And among those providers, there's a lack of specialized training and experience. So what the SHIELD does, it's surprisingly simple, is go to the SHIELD website. There is an email and a phone number. And any veterans or first responders can reach out. I'm very happy to say to date, everyone has been offered an appointment within 5 days of inquiry with a specialized mental health care provider. 5 days. Timeliness is another barrier. Yes, thank God for the VA here in Central Oregon. There is a study that showed that the average wait times for a veteran to access care from a non-VA provider were 51 to 64 days. I'm actually going to show a graphic here of what is involved in accessing an appointment through the VA. There's a lot, understandably, there's a lot of red tape. There are forms, there are waits. The VA has its own limitations. So again, with the SHIELD, one phone call or email, to date, we've been able to provide an appointment within 5 days of inquiry. Another huge barrier to accessing mental health care is confidentiality. You know, I talked already about it's a side effect of a lot of trauma and PTSD is hypervigilance. According to a Northern Illinois study, the top 3 reasons among law enforcement officers that prevented them from accessing mental health care were the fear of the stigma, fear of job loss and career repercussions, and they were afraid that seeking assistance is a sign of weakness. So how does the SHIELD overcome this? We don't deal with the VA. We don't have to deal with any insurance companies. We don't deal with HR. We are completely separate, independent. We have no connection to their employers or any kinds of gatekeepers. What we have heard from a number of SHIELD clients is, yes, I am aware that there is a counselor available to me, but I will never see a counselor that was on my boss's payroll, simply because of confidentiality concerns. Also, chaplains are wonderfully available to first responders. We've heard the same thing. I understand the chaplains have sworn an oath of confidentiality, but just one little slip of something they might say, and one of my superiors hears it, I'm afraid of the stigma, job loss, career repercussions, etc. So the SHIELD provides them something completely independent. And then lastly, cost. Cost is certainly a concern. And the Shield, what do we do? 100% of our services are funded through grants and donations. So 100% of all donations goes directly toward counseling services. My hope, my vision for Central Oregon is when we have wildfires, my hope is that I know those firefighters are able to access specialized mental health care to help them deal with the stress and the trauma, to help them cope with the things that they see that they can't unsee. In Central Oregon, if I get pulled over because I was speeding, now knock on wood, that hasn't happened for a really long time. But my hope is in Central Oregon, if I get pulled over by law enforcement, I want to know that these professionals who have sworn to protect us are not dealing with insomnia, are not dealing with other sleep disorders. They're not dealing with panic attacks. I want Central Oregon to be a place where our veterans and first responders are resilient and healthy and supported. And the truth of the matter is as long as there are wildfires, as long as there are crimes, we are going to need veterans. We're going to need these first responders protecting us, and they are going to continue to be exposed by stressful and traumatic events. To the best of my knowledge, that's unavoidable. But what we can do is we can protect the mental health of those who have sworn to protect us. So what you can do to support the Shield, if you know a veteran or a first responder, please let them know that they can access free mental health care through shieldcentraloregon.com. One of the things that's great about the Shield is because we don't have to deal with insurance companies, there doesn't have to be a diagnosis. There doesn't have to be a diagnosis code to send to the insurance. Just come in and talk. Another way you can help is if you know of other organizations that might be able to help raise awareness of the Shield here in Central Oregon, please let us know. We're happy to meet with individuals or groups. We're happy to talk with people. We're happy to go in and provide education on the effects, the cumulative effects of stress among this population. And third, if you or someone you know would like to donate to the Shield, I'm going to share, we looked at some really powerful statistics, but I'd like to share a really simple and powerful statistic that actually gives me some hope. About 10% of Central Oregon's population are veterans and first responders. And so we have created something called the Shield Squad, or 10 for 10. And members of the Shield Squad have committed to donating $10 a month for the 10% of Central Oregon's population. And the powerful statistic to me is this: if only 1% of Central Oregon's population donated $10 a month, that would equal 100 free hours every month of counseling to vets and first responders. Let's see, since the Shield was started officially in 2018, the demand for counseling hours tends to grow about 15 to 18% year over year. Last year, we provided almost 500 free hours of counseling to vets and first responders that were funded by local grants and donations. This year in 2020, we are certainly exceeding that number of 500 hours. And with the effects of COVID and the statistics I just showed you, I can't predict, but what I'm guessing is that in 2021, the demand will increase well beyond the typical 15% year over year, simply because of the social unrest, the effects of COVID, the firefighters. And we want to be able to continue to serve that demand, to meet them within that 5-day rate of inquiry, and just to build resilient and thriving first responders here in Central Oregon. Again, my husband, who I guess I would say was in some ways, because of his personal experience, in some ways was uniquely qualified, I would say, to start an organization. We do have a number of other specially trained mental health providers. We also have a female that is available to see other female vets if that is the case. So we really have a team ready to support those that support us. I'm happy to take any questions, comments, especially would love to hear anything from the veterans. The door is wide open. By show of hands, is anyone who here knows a first responder or a veteran? Yeah. Yeah, my grandfather served in World War II, and when I was very young, he would tell me stories.
I just want to say thank you for sharing and for your service. I come from a huge military family, and I think my whole family could probably keep you busy for a year. So thank you.
Thanks, Naomi. Yeah, they can go to, the website is shieldcentraloregon.org. That's where the contact information is to request an appointment. You can read about our sponsors. You can read testimonials. Yeah, I saw a hand. Was that you, Hannah and Susan?
Yes, I'm Hannah, and I wanted to say that my dad was in the Air Force in World War II, flying over Germany with a bomber, and his plane was shot down, and all of the they all parachuted out. My dad was out last. He was just almost by the trees. That was traumatic, you know. Landed in a field, and then was brought to German prisoner of war camp. And he also was marched from one camp to another. And so this was a huge trauma in his life. I was born into the family of this trauma. He would have nightmares, and he would tell us usually funny stories about it, but he would hide the other part. And until we got older, I remember him sharing a story while we were standing on the beach about friendly fire that killed, you know, some of his friends. So if only something like this had been available, it would have made a great difference in our lives, in our family and his. So thank you.
Thank you. And I used to think, which is sometimes the case when those who have served us have witnessed these traumatic events, there is kind of the, I guess maybe what we see on TV, the flashbacks, if you will, and whatnot. There's also the way trauma can carry out is hypervigilance, higher rates of stress, a common effect of PTSD and hypervigilance is perceiving something to be more threatening than it is. So what someone like myself might perceive to be, you know, not so threatening, someone who has been affected by this type of stress and trauma might perceive a huge threat and therefore react, or what we would say is overreact. I think this might be part of the reason why veterans and first responders have higher rates of divorce, higher rates of suicide, higher rates of drug and alcohol abuse. It's more about, I want them to thrive in all areas of their life. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. You get me talking about my kid or the shield, you guys. I can't stop talking. So anything else?
Emily, we love it. It's awesome. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. And I know that we've been working closely together. And I just wanted, you know, Kiwanis is a youth serving group. So I just wanted to ask you kind of to share a little bit of your information, or to share a little bit of knowledge about the impacts of, you know, mental health issues on children, you know, who have parents, kind of like Hannah explained. My parents are both veterans, Vietnam veterans in the Navy. And yeah, it has tremendous impact on children. And so just talk to us a little bit about that.
You know, I don't have specific statistics or data on the effects of children. I know that simply just with higher divorce rates, I mean, so I'll think of it this way. The child of a veteran or first responder who has been severely impacted by stress, trauma, PTSD, that child is more likely to have divorced parents. That child is more likely to have a parent that abuses substances. That child is more likely to have a parent who is hypervigilant, overreactive, perhaps quick to anger, quick to perceiving threats. So in some ways, that creates an environment for the child where they themselves find themselves walking on eggshells, if you will. And it's almost like it's secondary stress because they are reacting to the parent who is not quite whole or has been so impacted.
Yeah, definitely. The ripple effect, we just know that with the, old study of the Adverse Childhood Experience study, the ACEs study, that the ripple effect of mental health or untreated mental health illnesses definitely impact the entire family, especially children. And there's a lot we can do as community members in supporting those efforts and trying to get family support and things like that. So thanks again for your presentation. We really enjoyed it. And anybody else have any other questions?
I don't see any. Okay. Thank you again, Emily. We really appreciate you coming and speaking for us today. I'm just going to wrap up with the thought for the day. I feel, I picked this a couple weeks ago, not knowing that you were going to be the speaker or what you were speaking on, but I feel it's somewhat relevant. So our thought for the day is, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That's by Buckminster Fuller. Thank you everybody for visiting with us today. And I wish you all well, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you again next week.
A reminder that this video will be available on our website tonight at redmondkiwanis.org.
Thank you, Dave. Bye, everybody.